Hi guys, welcome back to another video from Car Help For You. So in today's video we're working on a Vauxhall. This one is a Corsa D. This one is on a 2011 reg. And what we're going to do is a similar method on every single vehicle out there. The wheel we're working on is a driver side front. I'm not doing this on the floor or on the lift because we've got a car on the lift and we can't actually get the truck in, to recovery truck in to unload the car. So we are going to do this one on the truck with you guys from start to finish. So the problem with this one is the track rod end's gone, so the wheel should never be able to turn this freely. The other side isn't, this side is. Now what we want to do is go ahead and take the wheel off. Now this car's got a locking wheel nut which is just there. This is the special key for it. When you've got a locking wheel nut, you always want to make sure you put the key in properly and it doesn't have any free movement. So we want to go ahead and take this. That's off nice and easy. We'll just put it over to the side, gun all the nuts off nicely. And there we are. So we'll just put the nuts to the side, don't want to lose any of them. And we'll move the wheel completely out of the way. So I'll put the wheel down on the floor so it's not in our way and we can crack on. So this car, as you can see, probably needs its discs doing soon. There's a lot of rust under here for the arms. I'll let the customer know, however, that's not what it's come to. Come to us today, it's come to us because we need to change. As you can see, that's not supposed to look like that. This is going to get a new tie rod end and inner tie rod, which is also known as track rod end and track rod. So we're going to change this one, which is inside of here. When you turn the steering wheel, this will go in and out, so effectively moves the car like this. This should be attached to that, and as you can see, this one isn't. So if this was attached, the steering will be somewhat straightish right now because the other side wheel's straight. But what we want to do is go ahead and gun this one off. This one is a bit rusty, so it might take a few bolts, a few taps, with a hammer. We don't need to go ahead and clean any of the threads because we're not trying to save this one. Might have to do it with a ratchet because it looks like I'm not going to be able to get a drill on there unless I can. Thought I might have a bit of gap there, but it doesn't look like I do. Let's get that off. I'll see if I've got, because I'm using an impact gun. Ideally you want this one there like that, because I'm not going to be able to do that. Let's see if I can run into the garage quickly and get a 17mm non-impact. So we've got a 17mm. This isn't an impact, this is just a chrome socket. It isn't what you really want to use on the back of an impact drill. However, we do have a set of impact sockets of this size. I think someone's borrowed them. They're not in there at the moment. But what I'm going to do is you shot this on the bottom of your track rod end, your tie rod end, sorry, and you just gun it off. Right, this one came off fairly easy. They don't actually always come off that easy. They do come off a bit hard. I just want to get that nut out of there. So as you can see, this nut has got stuck in here a little bit, and all we'll do is, rather than battering our socket and throwing it around, just put it in and pull it off like that. It's as easy as that. I need to now get this out of there. As you can see, it's stuck. We don't need to save this one, so we can just whack it from underneath. A few people recommend hitting it here as well. It does for you. It does, but we don't need to save it, so I'll just hit it underneath and get some direct impact on it. This is off, as you can see. It has sheared really bad clean out of there. So there's no way of saving this really. Well, there is. We could clean that up, put this in the vise, clean that off, twist that out, but it's actually bent it on an angle. I wouldn't really bother with it just in case the threads on the inside are just as damaged. So what we want to do now is turn our eyes inside of there. We want to get this one out here. I have a special tool for this. However, if you didn't have the tool, you can get it out another way. Now, in order to expose the bolt in there, we need to get this rubber boot off. And this rubber boot, the front part of it, I think I can get it off with a flathead screwdriver. They normally have metal clips on it, or cable ties. Someone's put this one on. They don't usually have this side, and I do apologise if there's any sound quality because it is very windy and it is very cold. Despite what the camera quality might look like, it's sunny and that, it is very, very cold out here. So we're going to just try and open this one up without it moving around. Doesn't look like it's going to come off in one piece. Yeah, so I'm probably just going to end up it's effectively like a cable tie, this is, or a metal clip. I am thinking I'm just going to try and get a pry bar on it and see if we can pry it a little bit backwards and see if we can just break the lock on it, which means we'll be able to reuse it. If not, it will just have to be a new as you can see, space is a bit hard, but I'm trying not to use get it off here, get it off the lift, you see. I mean, get it off the recovery truck, not the lift. There we are. So that's just popped loose there. I don't think I'm going to reuse that, even though it is quite secure. Actually, I probably will reuse that because the teeth on it haven't actually given way. I'm not sure if the camera will pick it up. There's a lot of teeth in that and they haven't actually given way. So I'm going to put that to the side and we will reuse it. Now, the back of it has what looks like a metal clip on there with a cable tie, which isn't perfect because it doesn't need to have both. What I'm going to have to do is I'll have to get in there and I'll take that metal clip off. What we'll do, we'll put a screwdriver into it and we'll just twist it and snap it out. We're replacing the full thing so it doesn't make a difference. So I'm going to go ahead and grab some more tools and I'll start showing that one. Right guys, so the one we're working on, I've got like a little pry bar and a screw. The one we're working on, oh, I can actually get it with my hands. Ran inside to go get a screwdriver, it turns out you can actually get it with my hand. I think it's broken. What we'll do is we'll get a pry bar in there. If we get the camera on this angle here, you might be able to see it a bit better. The part we're talking at is, where are we looking? Let me just get my hand through there. So I'll just grab the camera and get it into there and then I can show you. So the part we're looking at is this one here, and I can actually see it better now because I'm looking in the camera myself, even though it's a bit blurry. But that's broken, you see. So your one won't look like this, it'll be closed up. But if we come back to this angle here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it. Now I know it's not closed up and it just needs to be rectified like that. Just go ahead and pull it out from here. Right, it shouldn't be anywhere near as easy as this. So this is the clip here. This one is twisted itself. Let's try and get it somewhat back into shape. So it's going to be like that, and there's little spikes there. I didn't see that spike would lock into that, but this is twisted and it was kind of on there a bit like that type of thing. So I was going to get a screwdriver and try and just pop it forward. There are special tools you can get for this, but this is broken, so there's no point with that. What a lot of people do is as well, just put either another Jubilee clip on there, or you can put a metal fastener on, or you can even cable tie them, as long as you've got a strong cable tie. What you next want to go ahead and do is pull this rubber boot here forward, and it needs to come off. Now we've got a little bit of rust on ours at the front here, which yours might have, so you're going to struggle a little bit, and the only trick for that is to just put something on it where you're not going to damage the boot, and just tap the boot back and twist it. So the boot was actually stuck. You can put a bit of D40 onto it, which does help. However, I've left it inside and I don't fancy running inside now to go get a bit of D40 quickly, even though I might have to, I might have no choice. But just want to work it backwards and forwards a little bit, and what it will do is it'll effectively break the rust off, and all of a sudden You'll just see it bounce forward. So it is coming. Just twist and pull, and as you can see there, I just need the final bit. As you can see, our boot isn't actually damaged. We've got a little bit coming off there, which we can just pull off because, right, our boot is damaged. And there's grease inside of there, so that would leak the grease out, which means we're going to have to replace this boot. However, I can't get hold of one today. Today is a bank holiday as well, so everywhere's closed. So I'm going to have to put this one back on and pack some grease into it, put it back on, and we're going to have to get this car booked back in and get it off. The customer was 100% adamant that they've got no more time to spare. This car has to be back on the road at all costs today. I did tell him if we do have the boot that is burst or ripped, I can put it back together still. However, we still need to replace that boot at a later time, and they were more than happy to do that as long as they can drive the car and get themselves to work over the bank holiday, because it's a 4 or 5 day weekend. So we're not going to be able to get to that till next week. But what we will do at that point is we'll just open it from here, we'll unscrew it, and the boot would go back on. We wouldn't need to take it off from there. You'll see me put the boot back on, so you'll understand what I mean. They will do that. We'll just do that in reverse. Your boot hopefully won't be ripped. I'll have to definitely let the customer know, and I'll get the car back in. Now what we want to do is get that rod off there, and the way to get that off is we've got a special little tool kit. And what I'll do is I'll bring that over to the car, move some of these tools out of the way. I have showed this toolkit in other videos. It is the brand, I don't know, there's no labels or anything on it. I do believe it's laser, I could be wrong, but what this does is you want to find out which piece you need effectively and work with that. So just looking at it, I'd say we need the middle one, and what it does is it slides over like that. I'm just checking at the minute, so I'm not actually going to take it off. And yeah, this does grab it. As you can see, I had to turn it a little bit and it does grab it. So let's get that back off. We'll put this there, and then we'll need this piece here. I'll move this box back out of the way as it's an inconvenience to me. So what we want to go ahead and do, and make sure you've got a ratchet for that, which I don't have. Actually, I think I've got one. So I had one lying just outside of the entrance. So what we've done is we've got that, and that will clip into the back of there like that. But what we want to do now is we want to lock this onto there, and you can go ahead and tighten it there. I don't really tighten it, I don't need to. And then all this does is it slides over, you twist it so it's nice and tight, get your ratchet onto it. Let's see, how have I got more space? You could use an extension on it, I'm not going to. Just going to try and use it where I've got some space. Let's get the ratchet back in. Extend this. This is an extendable ratchet, and what have I done? I think I might go back the other way actually. So all tightened up. I'll put one hand here for pressure, and you just loosen it, go back on it a few times. I'll take the ratchet off now because we've had the initial pop. I'll take this off just so you can actually see what actually happens. So we'll just put that to the side, and all it is there's a nut inside of there. I'm not sure if the camera can pick it up, but if I come in from the back, there's just a nut here, and this is what spins and it goes into the steering rack itself. So we've got that out. It was on top of that. We'll get that rubber, that plastic thing out, and I'll show you. It's just here. Now, wipe on the shock absorber, it'll be alright. It's only a bit of grease. Right, so what that tool effectively does is it just goes onto here. As you can see, this isn't, some cars you can get a spanner onto them because they've got like a shape for a spanner. This one hasn't, so this one you would have to come, you wouldn't even be able to do it here. You would need the special tool or some sort of hard grip, like vice grips, to get it off. That tool just made life 10 times easier, because that tool will go through there like that, and it's not going nowhere. So that's what that tool does. It is a very, very brilliant piece of kit. Unfortunately, I can't tell you how much it is or where to get it. Since I've had it for so long, I would say maybe look online at Amazon and stuff, but we've got any new parts here, which we're going to shot on. So we're going to start with the outer part first. Just going to open it quickly. So you can put some grease around these areas. You don't really need to, but you can, and you can put grease in the boot as well. Again, we don't need to. I probably might put some in when we get the new boot, but this is the inner tie rod, and this is what it looks like. So that's the nut on it, which you want to put aside, and I'll show you what that nut looks like. Actually, what we'll do is put the part there. I'll bring the broken parts over. So this is the broken one. Now, just for comparison, I'm going to put this part here. So as you can see, that's only got a couple of threads there. I can't actually measure the threads, so we're going to put it back together, be able to drive the car off the truck, and well, nowhere's open, so I don't think it'll be coming off. We'll just try and do the best tracking we can do, and when it opens back, when everything opens back up next week, Carl will come back to us, we'll put the rubber boot on, and then we'll take it over to tracking. We don't actually offer tracking, so it needs to go elsewhere for tracking, which is known as four-wheel alignment. But as you can see, the part matches there, looks very similar here. This nut is this one here, and what this does is it stops this from coming any more back. There's a few threads there. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to know how many threads there are, just with the way it's bent and it's sheared off. As you can see, so that's how it's come off. So it has had quite a bit of whack. It wouldn't just snap like this driving. I don't know too much about the car, but I do believe it's been a collision because we've got damage to the bumper, the wing, and the two doors. Wing is what we call it in England, however I know Americans call it fender. So if you watch it in America, then fender's got damage. But anyway, let's get back to the repair. Move the broken bits to the side, and let's get the new ones in. We want to take that nut off and put the nut to the side, and we want to start getting this in. So let's get this lined up nicely. You don't need to grease the threads or anything, and what we want to do is just nicely keep it nice and straight and just send it in with our hands at the start, so it's nice and hand tight. We know we're not cross threading it, and just keep spinning it. Right, now that's not going to go any more with my hand. That is as tight as I'll go with hand. So what I want to do is I want to get this on. I'll send it all the way in there like that. I'll twist it towards the right hand side, because obviously that's where we're going to tighten it. We'll shot this one on. Make sure that's nice there. Get the ratchet onto it. And it doesn't need very much persuasion. Well, this one does. What's happened there? It's just slipped off. That's all that's happened. So you want to just keep it firmly pushed on and just tighten it. And that's nice and tight there. You can get the torque settings out, etc. if you want to. But it just comes a time, once you've done it so many times, it just comes a point where you know, you have a feel for these things. So that's not going nowhere now. So now you can pack a bit of grease around there with your hands. You can put it into there if you want, and then the rubber boot would go on. So this boot would effectively go onto there, and you just push it back, and there comes a point where it kind of like clicks in. So that clicked into there. What I'll do is I'll pull it forward, and the camera might actually pick it up, so I can't. There. You heard it pop off, but I'll see if you can see it pop on. So you just push it back, and there, and that's not coming forward now freely. And the one at the back that was on the clip, you won't be able to see that one because it's very, very tight and I can't get the camera in there. but that just clips over at the back as well. There's like a section made for it that goes on there. So now all we've got to go ahead and do is put this nut on that it came with and I showed you earlier. We'll just slap that on. Let's just push it somewhat to the top, so it's quite close to the back, as you can see. Now what I want to do is I want to get the tie rod, which is the front part, and that is in this box. So let's open the box up. That's the part itself. Then just put the box to the side, and this one's actually come with a replacement nut as well for that. So this has actually come with a nut for that. They don't always do that. This is from Delphi Technologies, this part, and I am quite surprised it's come with that nut because a lot of them don't. Now these parts you can pick them up from Eurocar parts, etc. yourself, and this is what this part looks like. Now fitting it is very easy. You just push this to where you need it and start threading it on, and it is literally as simple as that. Just nice and straight, and you can see it goes on as sweet as that. And the tracking would sort it out. So our wheels are what? Straight. Actually, have a look at the steering wheel. Our steering wheel isn't straight. I'm just trying to straighten the steering wheel. Our steering wheel is quite straight, so we expect this to go about there. For this to be straight, it will need tracking doing, so you can just do your threads according to that. These will need adjusting. However, if yours isn't snapped like mine, when you come to taking this off, what you will do is you'll get a spanner on the back of this one, because it'll be on there like that. So you'll get a spanner and spin it that way. Once you've spun that way, you'll want to hold this with another spanner. So once this goes back, this will then start spin off, and what you do is you count how many spins you took it off. So if you start spinning it off and it's 13 spins, you know the next one is to go on by 13 spins. If it's broken like this, you're not going to be able to do that, and you just are going to have to, unfortunately, try and get it as close as you can. And it is a bit of messing about because it's never as close as you can. It's 9 out of 10 times needs to be realigned. So this one's going to need to get an alignment done. I am going to do the alignment on this, but I've decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on the lift. We're going to be able to drive it off here now, straight onto the lift. We'll finish the job inside, get this inside, get it onto the lift. We'll be able to rotate both wheels, and we'll do the best alignment we can as a homemade alignment system. That's going to be our best bet, I think, to try and salvage the alignment for now. What you then want to go ahead and do is, what we've done is we've put that nut back up to the thread. We don't want it to go in anymore. We've put this back through the hole there, as you can see, and it pushes down. Now all you want to do is get your socket, go underneath and just gun it up. So if I set this to tighten, put it underneath, and we just want to gun it up. What have I done? I haven't pressed it in properly. It's not sitting on there properly. Now it is. Nice and slow to start, so it sits there, and then you just want to tighten it. Once you've got it nice and tight, this isn't going nowhere. You've got the traction, and what you then want to do is go ahead and put your wheel back on. I need to tighten that gator. I need to get 2 cable ties for now. I'm not going to put metal clips on just because it's coming off in a few days. We'll then go ahead and put the wheel back on, but what I do want to do first is I want to just make sure it's actually working, and the way to do that is we'll open the door, put the key into the ignition, and turn the steering. So I will be able to Steering is somewhat straight there. See, I can see that needs adjustment already. But what we'll do is turn the steering towards the right. You can see it works. I'm not going to mess with it too much just because I'm a recovery truck. So we're going to go ahead and just leave it to there. I don't want to tip the car off the recovery truck because it's going to be a very big bill for me. Just calm down. What I'm going to go ahead and do is run into the garage, get some cable ties, strong ones, to hold them two in place. Once the rubber gate is in place, we'll go ahead and put the wheel back on. Right guys, so I've secured the boot from the front and the back. I think it's called a rubber gaiter or rubber gate. I'm not too sure there, but it's a rubber boot. That's what I call it anyway. Of course, the steering rack in this. Now we've got what we believe somewhat close tracking. It will still go on the lift. Whilst I was away, I spoke to the customer and told him about the rubber boot. I told him that he can either leave the car with us and we can get it done. Once everything opens back up, the customer said, no, if it's not dangerous, I want the car back. I need the car. I'll bring it back in. So rest assured, the rubber boot will be replaced and it will get done properly. The customer's also said, just do the best tracking you can do. So the best alignment you can do for now. When you do the rubber boot, can we then take it to somewhere else, which we don't mind doing because we'll just drop it off. They'll do the tracking, the alignment, and we'll come back. That place already has one of our cars, so we'll just do like a switch. None of that needs to be in the video. I don't need to show you the rubber boot because you know how to do it. And it is a similar method like this for every single vehicle out there, even if yours hasn't broke. So I just want to quickly show you the broken part. It would be there like this. Now if your one hadn't broken, you want to get it off, you want to put a spanner on that and a spanner on this. I need to tighten that one to the alignment, so don't worry about that. But you'll put a spanner on that and twist it that way, and you'll put a spanner on this just to hold it in place. What you do is you crack that nut free, which is effectively this nut here. So clean it all up, clean all the threads nicely, and then crack it loose. But if you've got a bend in it like that, you're not going to crack it. Just put a grinder through it quickly and move on. If you believe you can get it off, get it off. There wasn't a chance we can get this. You can see the threads are kind of crushed here, so we wouldn't get it off even if we tried. At which point we'd just put a grinder through it there and take it off in that sense. But what you would do is you take it off, count how many threads this takes coming off, and then you put this one down, you take that nut off, you take the boot off, you take the back of it off. The reverse order of how we put it on will be how you take it off. If your one's broken, that's how it is. You can do a quick little inspection. When you put it back together, you just want to hold the disc and the caliper and just shake it like that a little bit, which is basically this. We just want to make sure there's no play in it at all, which there isn't, so we can go ahead and put our wheel back on. So if I go ahead and get the wheel, and we can get it back over to there. Where's the nuts gone? So we'll get one. Even though we're using the gun, you might be using a spanner. When you're putting it back on, you want to do it by hand first, then use your power tools or whatever. And then you just, even though you're using a power tool, you do just want to go back over it and make sure you've done the correct tightness. So once it's down in its own weight, use a spanner and just tighten it up properly. Putting the wheel back on, there is a video online on how to take wheels off. Now if you've come over to do this part and you don't know how to put it back on, what you want to do is make sure the holes line up with the threads and just nicely put it through. You want to hold the wheel flat up against the hub, so against the part on the inside, because this is known as a disc on the hub. So put it through and just nicely twist it with your hands. Always put the nuts back on in a cross action. So I can let go of this now. It's not going to go nowhere because that's nice and tight by hand. I'll get the next one and I'll go straight opposite. So it's always across. like hand tight. If for any reason it starts to go a bit tight with your hand and you're only on the first few threads, take it off, have a look at why it's doing that. You might be cross-threading it, and if you are cross-threading it, you may need to replace the hub. So as you can see, we just go ahead and do that, and this is a locking nut. Locking nut, make sure they're always not too tight. Same with all the nuts, you want to make sure they're not all too tight, because if you do break down on the side of the motorway, you will need to call for assistance and get it off. Probably so that may look like it was excessively tight, however it wasn't. It was literally just the gun on one of the low powers. You can see there, that's out. Might just stick a bit of grease into that. Go ahead and stick these plastic caps back on. And the wheel, as it is actually quite straight, so might have got it right first time, but we will find out on the lift. Anyway guys, this is how to change this. It's a similar method on all the cars. Hope I've helped you. Anyway, please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.